Alright, so this is mission 4, Ken. The name is of course significant, because Ken is Barbie's friend. And I'm sure Laporte probably played with dolls when she was a kid. It's totally what it means. So this mission is our biggest break from orthodox mission design so far. This fiction viewer is taken directly from a military manual. I actually should have adapted it more to make it more future-y. But as it is, I think it does a good job of what it's supposed to, which is add this ambiguity to the whole campaign with this invisible friend element, where we don't want it to be clear whether Laporte is crazy or if she's actually having visions from some real entity. We did want that ambiguity to be present. It could just be combat stress. She does have a history of mental instability. So here we meet Lieutenant Vicmuth, and if you pay attention, he is not a psychologist at all, or perhaps he is, but he's something more than that, and I think the very end of the campaign makes it clear who he really is and what he's doing here. This mission is just packed with story clues, both for War in Heaven and for the overall Blue Planet arc. It answers some questions, or provides more information on some of the stuff set up at the end of Age of Aquarius. And the original draft for the War in Heaven Alpha did not touch on this mythology at all. It was purely a war story. And we decided we didn't want to steer too far away from that. So we threw missions like this one in to tie this into the Blue Planet mythos, which not everyone likes, but we thought we could present it in a new way to make it interesting. So here we are, flying over Earth. A little later in the mission, I'm going to have Hera Totori talk about the Skybox, but right now I just want to mention this mission took so many iterations to get right. Our original one was just set in a red nebula with a lot of cargo containers. Then we went to a full cutscene, which we had for a while. We cut that. We tried a new approach. That didn't work out. At one point, we had text coming up via training message, regular message, and subtitles at the same time. It was just a mess. Finally, we settled on this approach, which takes some cues from Fear, and then kind of transitions into this homage to Transcend. You can see there the diagnostic neural interface, which actually crashed the game. We had to update FreeSpace Open to make that work, because it would fill up the training message buffer and cause everything to explode. The fifth telltale there, NGRI. If you're a Blue Planet story fanatic, you probably know what that means. If not, you should just read the tech room. You can figure it out. Right. Actually, we do have a minute here. Hera Totori, do you want to talk really quick about the Earth Skybox? And just pass it back to me when we start getting freaky.
Okay, this is the Burnt Earth Flash, which you see here. And it's based on William Chamberlain's Blender Earth tutorial, which you can find on Google. And the textures are modified versions of Blue Marble textures. And basically it's bathymetry and height map combined and colored with a suitable gradient in GIMP. And working the textures in GIMP was a real chore because they use a lot of memory in that resolutions. And the city lights are actually, lava lights are actually city lights.
So here we have flashed into this weird hallucination, and we're meeting this character, Ken, who, I think it's clear in the mission, was Laporte's invisible friend as a child. And that transitioned into this bizarre schizophrenic episode that's alluded to during her childhood or early adolescence. I don't want to say too much more about Ken, except to say that everything about that character and the rest of this mission means something. But, in general, the intent here was to kind of subvert and explore Age of Aquarius, where Sam Bay had this really, really positive relationship with the Vishnans, where they guided him through his whole life, helped him out, helped save his father, and ultimately helped save everyone serving with him from the Shivas. And I think a lot of people playing that story, while there was positive reaction, really resented the idea that there were these aliens who were just, providing us with a mystical destiny and they were going to come save us. So we wanted to explore the darker side that was alluded to, even back in Age of Aquarius, if you paid attention, to this relationship, where it's not just guidance and advice, it's almost manipulation, coercion, almost abuse. So we wanted to make it clear that whatever is going on here, and I don't want to say what it is not completely as friendly as what happened with Bay. So here, there are a ton of cargo containers with weird names. Um, and as you approach them, you get these subtle glimpses at other characters, as if Laporte is somehow communicating with them mentally. And we were very proud that we managed to put the whole vision element of the story on a more hard science fiction, well, not hard science fiction, but a soft science fiction basis with a technical grounding, rooted in free space canon, whatever it is. So, I think Quantum Delta is going to explore this cargo container farm. There is a very, very startling secret to this farm, at least in its original form, though it may have been lost as the mission got shifted around, but it may still be apparent. If you look hard, from the right perspective, there's some... Oh, I don't want to say anymore. So I think I am going to pass this off to the E to talk about the infamous rendering engine bug.
Right. A few months back, Batuta made a very long post about this bug, how we found it, and how it got fixed eventually. What happened was that while we were developing this version of the mission, we got to a point where almost everything was in place, was working correctly, but for some reason, by the time you got to Ken, got to meet him, and I think after he was done talking, something very weird happened. Suddenly everything inside would just vanish completely. You found yourself in some sort of black void with just the sun for company, and we were just stunned. It happened on nearly every playthrough, and so I decided that this was a code bug and we had to get it fixed, because none of us was really that anxious to get back to the drawing board on this mission, because we were just tired of it. So then began a lengthy process of me and other guys on the source code project team of tracing through this mission, tracing through the engine to find out where exactly it all went wrong. And what we found was a bug that had been in the engine ever since retail, apparently, and it was ultimately a one-line change in the code that made this bug go away forever. For those of you interested in just what exactly that bug was, I recommend you search the forum for the infamous rendering engine bug of Doom. I guess you'll find the right thread there. From a coding point of view, this mission was a gift. Just because it uncovered two bugs that were both dormant in the engine, that no one had ever triggered before, and that were potentially fatal. And that we got both bugs fixed relatively quickly. Again, it was a dream for me as a member of the source code project. Yeah, back to you, Batuta.
So there you go, Blue Planet. We break everything, but we break it so usefully. Right now, QD is just going through the cargo container poetry. By the way, if you're frustrated on this mission, the best way to read the cargo container poetry in order is to just hit T. It'll scroll through them in sequence. And once you've done that, you can go through the event log with the F4 menu and actually get a pretty coherent representation of everything they say. So, to close this off, although I'm actually going to ask Kara Trattori to talk about something again, but first I just want to mention, this sort of vague poetry is not mystical jargon. In fact, there's something in the poetry that specifically calls that out. We, the Blue Planet team, we have a story bible that outlines the entire history of our setting, the role of every major player, and the answers to all the questions from Free Space 2, as well as some greater ones. which Volition alluded to in their plans for Free Space 3. And everything in this cargo dump is meant to allude to some element of that story. We're pretty happy with it, and you should get to see more of it as we move forward. But we just want you guys to know that we know exactly what's going on here, which we're pretty proud of. It feels good to have a coherent basis for everything. And in fact, when I joined the Blue Planet team, I was one of the first 3 members, since for a while it was just Darius. I was surprised, although Darius's creative methodology is mostly very free-flowing, he really had some things planned out well in advance. For example, if you read the tech room in the patched Age of Aquarius, the weird transmission you get from the Duke very early on in the campaign means something that's not going to come into play for a while now. So here we are, debriefing. Laporte is saying, wow, I was hallucinating. What the heck is going on? We're almost out of time. I wanted to ask Kara about that Burnt Earth skybox, but I think it's going to have to wait. Thanks for listening.